Talking with Words.
Hey, welcome back to Talking with Words. You're here with Rob,
Cameron,
Ryan,
Some call me Tim.
Tim.
the Tool Man.
Taylor.
Oh, nice.
Oh, no, not Tim.
He's not here.
Unfortunately.
Tonight we watched Sinners, which I don't even know what it's described as. I know what it's described as. It's described as trying to leave their troubled lives behind. Twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back.
Mm.
It stars Michael B. Jordan.
And
Michael B. Jordan.
there you go.
Saul Williams, Adrian Ward Hammond, Jack O'Neill. Who were the other ones that we were talking about?
Delroy Lindo?
Delroy Lindo and
Haley Steinfeld.
Haley Steinfeld. Omar Benson Miller was the guy from Ballers that I thought was from Blindside. He plays a huge football player.
Sorry, yeah, it's a big guy.
Big guy.
Large man. What is the parents' guide on this thing?
The Parents Guide is rated R for strong bloody violence, sexual content, and language. Sex and nudity moderate, violence and gore severe, profanity moderate, alcohol, drugs, and smoking mild, frightening and intense scenes sever.
It's the Sever. This was the first time for the three of us.
Yeah.
Sarah barks a lot.
Yeah, I've watched it a couple of times now.
Was it better the second, third, fourth, fifth time?
I wouldn't say it was better. I've enjoyed it both times. I mean, the difference was I knew what I was getting into because this is a film that's very unique, and I would love to see the reaction of whoever was tasked with writing the synopsis of this film.
So I kept hearing about how the score and how great everything tied together, and yes, it's a great score, and the way they use the music is great. But there's also a whole lot of what the fuck is going on.
Mostly that.
A lot of that.
Well, should we talk through some instances and maybe we can figure it out?
Let's do this because I got notes.
But maybe before we go any further, though, just did we all enjoy it?
Oh yeah,
Because-
watching it
okay.
again, 100%.
Because I bought it, so I liked it a lot.
I want my money back. Yeah.
Cameron?
And enjoy is maybe a stretch for me personally. I would watch it again, but under certain circumstances, I'm sure.
Duress,
Yeah, maybe. I don't.
it's gonna take a minute to absorb this one.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
So when I was watching the trailer, I was like, "Ooh, looks pretty intriguing," and that's not the movie that I watched.
No.
Yeah, like I was hoping that there was some, just slasher stuff happening, that juke type.
The trailer
Concert
was
place.
the commercial, and the movie was that plus a bunch of other pieces.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's not what I expected, but I'm not upset by it.
If Michael B. Jordan was not the lead, would it have been as successful as it was?
Leads, plural.
Leads.
He pulled Eddie Murphy in this one. Played all the characters.
Yeah, it's a good question because he was a big draw, but also Ryan Coogler is definitely a draw too for the other films he's made. So I think it still would have been. Unless he just cast someone terrible in that role, probably still would have been pretty successful. But
He did really well with the roles.
Agreed.
I'm not a huge Michael B. Jordan fan
neither.
most of the time, but I enjoyed watching him be those people. Like, he did a great a job of sinking into it and becoming that.
Yeah.
And they were different enough that he had all this room to play with. And then even more later on, which we'll get to in 45 to 60 hours.
Even at the end when whoever it was said you're a soldier, I'm like, that one character truly was a soldier.
Right.
Like you saw in his demeanor, and then it checks out when she said it at the very end of the movie. Whereas the other character, Stack, happy-go-lucky guy.
Until his dying day.
Correct. Anyways.
I'm done. So whatever.
Well, they were both soldiers at one point, were they not?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Like they both fought in war.
I guess I missed that part.
It's one of a lot of little things that they just mention and they don't dwell on it a lot. And actually, this was something I caught this time watching it again. At least I think I saw it because it's really quick. But when they opened the trunk, I'm pretty sure there were 2 helmets in there. So I think this was like all of the 2 of their.
It was a set.
Yeah, it was their stuff from the war.
Mm.
But so the beginning of this movie and the end of this movie is a character that is not the protagonist of the film. Sammy is the intro, the guy that walks into church with the pieces of guitar, but he's only kind of a bit player throughout the movie. And then he kind of becomes, at the end, I mean, they allude to he was the reason, he was the deal with the devil kind of thing, which is the lore of the Delta Blues and all of that. But it kind of took a backseat for a minute, and I forgot about it completely. So by the time the end of the movie, and it does what it does, like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. He's that guy. Right?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, he's one of the major catalysts, though, in that it is his singing that, yeah, like I guess what you're talking about with the deal with the devil, it's his singing that attracts
That's it.
things. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So we're gonna do all. This has 3 very separate acts because the beginning is them doing the heist recruitment of, hey, I'll give you a beer if you come play. You son of a bitch, I'm in. And like you have that whole montage. You have a lot of
getting the juke set up.
Yeah, and then you have a lot of seeds planted with what did you wash these floors? The clay doesn't exist anymore.
If you or your buddies come back on this land, we're going to kill you all.
Yeah, keep it down with the devil. They had that. It was in Chicago working for Capone.
Mm-hmm.
A whole bunch of those seeds we're going to definitely talk about later. Enough that I wrote them down as the movie was playing, and they played out well. They did a good job with it. That
opening scene, though, at the church was almost like my own little trailer. I was like, ooh, man, this is going to be great. The little flashes of what happened.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man, shit's about to go down. It did, just in a completely different way.
Not as soon as you thought it was going
to. But a fantastic opening scene. I was like, oh, shit. Like, they're starting strong right out of the gate.
Got intense quick.
Man.
I also want to note that when we watched this, Lauren and Charles were here, and Lauren was twitchy the entire movie because I was sitting next to her, and she kept doing that as the music would grow.
And it says that she's listening to the soundtrack tomorrow all day. So,
and I feel good that I only screamed at her once to scare her out of all these opportunities for this movie.
It was a beautiful moment.
Beautiful moment.
Yep.
We also have, and then this whole beginning, because they stick with this is right after the slaves are freed and they're still using plantation money, right?
They're sharecroppers.
Yeah.
Because what year was this taking place?
19.
Well, it said 32 on here. Like
I thought that was 1922. I think.
So it'd be after the First World War.
Yeah, it's right at the end of World War II or World War One.
Yeah, because we're talking about the free black people in Chicago and how down here it's different because of the Civil War, all that fun stuff. Yeah. Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, when they were trying to recruit Slim, he had this awful story about his friend that made money, and he was like, "I'm gonna go and get away," and they found him and lynched him and took all of his gold and just left him. And it was one of those. There were like 4 times in this movie where they would tell this horrible story. It's like, all right, well, anyway, what are we doing? We're going over here. Okay. Like, God damn, man, read the room. We're starting a bar.
I don't know. I think they did a good job of establishing the world they live in.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I'm not shitting on it. I just love that they would do that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, all right, well, who's buying the beers?
It's jarring.
Yeah. You also had the baby. Which one was that? Smoke
and Anna.
I think it was Annie.
Annie,
Or was it Annie?
Yes.
yeah, and she was. I don't know what you would call her. Not necessarily a
shaman,
shaman, witch doctor,
But a medicine woman.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. None of the terms any of the characters used to describe her was complimentary.
No,
Because the only time that her profession was referred to.
She's a witch.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, she referenced several times. She grew up down in Bayou, Louisiana, and that's like
She's Dragon Queen.
Yeah, even today, that's still like a lot of that lore and thought process is still in play in some of those southern Louisiana communities. I mean, that's a huge draw in the New Orleans Bourbon Street area.
And originally, they did the
voodoo. That's
voodoo with the zombies that were not dead people; they were just controlled by another person.
Yeah, souls trapped in another body.
And she said "hasten" multiple times, which is
hasten,
Haints.
H-A-I-N-T-S.
That's like you're possessed.
Yeah.
Can we call her Voodoo Mama Juju?
I will allow you to call her.
Does anyone get that reference?
No.
Damn it.
You're gonna have to explain it.
No, I gotta pick a different pod, to be honest.
If you find another one, call me, man. I'm from here.
It's from the Office, but it's whatever. It's when they're playing the role playing game. Whatever.
Yeah,
you know I love that.
God damn it.
From Savannah.
Bingo.
Yeah, the role playing Savannah episode where everybody's.
One of the characters was Voodoo Mama Juju.
Yep.
Damn it, you guys. All right,
that's right.
That's it for me.
Yeah, I remember that. It was a big part of my life.
Thank you, Ryan. Kind of.
I'm just here to help you out, Cameron.
So that's what Act 1 is. It's the recruitment.
Yes.
And it's the backstories, and it's Slim yelling at the road crew to get him shot, and he won't put his fucking seatbelt on.
And then Smoke shooting those 2 guys that he apparently knew.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And he's like, "It's like we're pals. We know each other from back in the day." He shoots the second guy. The guy hits the ground. He goes, "Why'd you shoot me?" He goes, "I can't let anybody think you messed with the Smokestack twins and didn't get shot."
Established dominance.
Yeah.
Right from the get go.
Yep.
You know the dentist system.
Demonstrated value. So that was him engaging physically?
Yes, that's obviously. You've seen the movie. But this is the end of Act 1, and they end it. Their act cuts are hard as shit.
Yeah.
Because it's Smoke and this girl like kind of reconvening after apparently they fled to Chicago, or they're fleeing Chicago now because they stole money. And
stole money.
They're grieving over their dead child, and it cuts hard to this guy just dropping out of the sky on fire in front of a farmhouse, asking for help and saying that people are chasing them. You're like, oh, okay, now we're going to start the vampire part of this movie. No. We have the biggest tease of all fucking time with this guy going up, and he's doing the vampire, he has to be invited in thing, so he's offering them gold and all this shit.
just help me. The Choctaw are chasing me. All that.
Oh, that's true.
And, like, I mean, he's smoking a little bit from
He's still smoking.
The sun.
yeah, the sun.
And then you have this band of vampire hunters. Or that's what I assume they were.
Yeah,
they look
Well,
like vampires.
they were Choctaw
So,
Indian.
I don't think that they were necessarily vampire hunters. I think they just figured out what he was. He was causing problems for them. Now he's somebody else's problem at this point.
Exactly.
They tried.
That's what I thought too.
I was waiting for them to show up.
Oh, yeah.
When you were like, "There's more at the end," I was like, "Oh, fucking finally, okay."
Oh, yeah.
And then Buddy Guy comes like, "God damn it!"
But the one like chief guy, if you will, was like, "Hey, the sun's setting. Not our problem anymore.
Yeah.
Let's go because we've already seen what this mother effer can do."
But then again, like a lot of Indian tribes have that same like voodoo thought process open to, gods and spirits and magic, so to speak.
So they probably found it faster.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this guy's not good. We got to deal with this shit.
And one of the great things too is they don't give you too much information about what happened with them.
Yeah.
It's just enough to know like, this guy's been causing problems for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll talk about him some more in the past. But the other great thing about that scene is when he's looking into the cabin, which is much bigger on the inside than it is on the outside.
Yeah.
You see a KKK hood or maybe it's a robe, and so immediately you don't want to root for the vampire, but at the same time, it's like, who cares what happens to these people?
Right.
If someone's going to die, let it be them. Just great.
They did a couple of times.
Yeah.
Where you're like,
Well, I mean, they use that as a tie-in on the end.
Oh yeah.
Where they thought, the assumption is, oh, he's a trickster. He's just trying to fool us. He'll say anything to get in or whatever. Well, he was also kind of right too.
Well, we'll talk some more about that
Yeah.
because he was. Yeah, there's a lot there.
You know what they didn't have? James Woods.
James Woods
That was
and
amazing.
the Padre.
Yes.
Little team.
And not a single Baldwin.
I know.
Not a one
And there's so many.
that are not in jail.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
So the vultures are flying around the cabin when the Choctaw were approaching the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. When the vampire was already inside.
Correct.
What was the vampire's name?
Remick.
Yeah.
Because vultures circle dead bodies.
Which I thought was interesting, but when we then moved to the juke house, the mill, same thing. Did you notice that?
Did not.
There's vultures at the beginning of like the first scene when they're like arriving at the mill to like get everything started.
Oh, I missed it.
That's some cool foreshadowing.
No, I think that's true. Let's fact check that. Let's run back.
Yeah. Is that in your notes?
Yeah, right here.
From the trivia?
I haven't read any.
Let's record it two ways with you saying, yes, I was right, and I was wrong.
Let's get both sides.
Listen, all the trivia is like 3 paragraphs long each one. I'm not reading that shit.
Where's Sally when we
He
need
doesn't
her?
read that good.
I bought a movie, not a fucking book.
Sally reads the trivia the entire movie and then doesn't watch the movie and just goes,
And-
"Oh, well, you know what?"
And then she doesn't stay anyways.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, you can say all you want. Just listen.
All right, we're at Remick killing clan
The
members.
white supremacists.
Yes.
And like they
That was my segue.
Thank you for that. Let me take it from there. But we go from there to the bar functioning, the juke functioning, and you introduce what?
I was gonna say, do they ever actually say what it's going to be? Because like they're going around town picking everything up. They're like, "Oh, we got the beer."
Yeah, they say we're opening our own juke joint.
Oh, okay,
Juke is like the blues,
right?
kind of, yeah. But we have it now. Now it's happening, so it's alive. It's functional.
It's up and running.
And then we introduce
Opening night.
what was her name? Haley Steinfeld's character.
Mary.
Mary.
She gets introduced. So we have both brothers now have.
Well, she was introduced earlier and had a great conversation.
Oh
That's
yeah,
true.
at the train station.
Are you sure she's white?
But yeah, like I guess this is the first time you really get an idea of how she ties into that community.
when they introduced her originally, I thought it was somebody tracking them from Chicago, the way they kind of played it off.
Yeah.
And then when she came in, it was somebody from before and all that. So it softened it a little bit.
Well, so like some of what they talked about at the train station, it's like, oh, this is the ex that he bailed on. This is, the chick he took money from and still owes, like whatever it was, he wronged her in some way.
He took her out for a nice steak dinner and never called her back.
Never called her again.
Dorothy Bingentooth was a saint. But this also, okay. So the juke's up and running, and we're going to have our moment with the musicians that we've recruited. And we introduce Sammy to the world. And we have this...
God damn it.
The greatest music video ever.
It's a music video in the middle of the movie where they... I'm going to try to explain this, and you guys just correct me where I miss or am wrong. They're showing to the audience that Sammy's music is strong enough to transcend time and space, and it's outside of everything else, and it connects everything because it's powerful, because music is love and all that stuff. And they show it with a montage of figures throughout time dancing to the music that he's playing as they layer in music from other genres and times over it. And it ends with our vampire sensing, smelling, whatever.
He senses the devil's song.
That power, and that's what drives him to the Jew.
Yeah.
Am I getting this?
Yes.
Unfortunately, yes.
That whole scene was really interesting. It's just like the way they basically circled the camera and picked up, like, it's clear, but it's not 100% clear. It's just like you see little clips of like African tribe dancers, and at some point there's two dudes crip walking in there. There's a DJ. There's
a ballerina at some point.
Yeah, a ballerina.
Some Chinese dancer in there too. Like it wasn't just their culture. It was like all cultures represented in that building.
I didn't see a tap dancer.
No.
There was some river dancing going on.
That was later.
Yeah.
That comes later.
This was the point in the film where it's like, damn it, this wasn't the movie I thought it was, right? Because even back at the cabin when they're introducing Remick, you're like, I'm kind of strange, but I'm okay with where this is going, right? You can kind of see like, okay, this is where the start of all the chaos that we got a glimpse of is starting from. Let's see it through. This happens. And it's like, no, this isn't what you thought it was. And we're going to continue kind of on this page for a long time. It's just, why?
I'll give you my take on it because I love that scene. I think it's awesome.
And when you paused it for a reason, you're like, Rob went to the bathroom.
I like the scene.
Like, Rob's got to see this shit. And I was like,
scene.
Yeah, he does.
A lot of it's up to interpretation, and I very well could be wrong about what's meant here. Let me just say that first. But you've got these people that are in a weird place in time. There are a lot of themes of not just within the movie itself, like a lot of generational trauma and carrying those. I'm saying this really badly.
Well, it's also about this is their safe place that they've made.
Right. It's your community, being oppressed, following your own self, finding your own freedom. But in this case, in this scene, you've got these people who are kind of cut off from their past and don't know what their future is. So in this moment, it's all bridged. They're all connected to, their roots, and they're the roots of the future, and it's all bridged. And that's where you tie into the character of Remick as well, because there are a lot of hints given, and even some explicitly stated things, to where he is ridiculously old. I mean, this guy is from Ireland back when there were druids, is my take, because he talks about being there when Christianity was forced upon the people, and he's using that old gold, super old, and he even says he wants to use that power to get back to his people, because he's lost them. They're gone. This is a chance for him to reconnect.
Yeah.
Of course, his way of going about it is taking people, freeing them from one type of oppression and putting them under his own, which is pretty clearly seen with the fact that he takes the admittedly abhorrent couple, but turns them into his little Irish folk puppets.
They're a band. They're a family band now.
Quite good. That's quite good band.
Yeah, some really fun moments with them. But
Joan and Bert had chops.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's my take on it. Is that that's kind of the pivotal moment of everything that shows how it all comes together, and then from there,
it sure was pivotal.
Things start to unravel.
Well, that's when they pick poor Rodney clean.
Yeah. Several times.
The wording of that was fantastic.
That was a great song.
A vampire talking about picking a person clean. Love it. Sorry.
I also wrote down that I liked how they were happy vampires, and then you made a reference to From later on, which yes, and I don't know if they really talked about it or if I just missed it, but it was a hive mind essentially. They all have each other's knowledge and they all share. So when one person got hit, they all felt it and knew where to go.
Once you're assimilated.
It was him though. It was
he got hit.
He was the one that if he got hit, they felt the pain. But if another one got hit or saw something, they all turned to it immediately.
Yeah.
So it was one of those where it was like a alert.
Yeah.
As opposed to the core.
It's almost like a shared consciousness, maybe.
Yeah. The old thing.
Because they only felt pain when Remick got hit, but they could it went both ways as far as sharing memories and experiences and knowing the Chinese family and all that other stuff, and that's how Remick could speak. Yeah. She said Chinese, the caption said whatever dialect of Chinese that was,
right.
But he just goes from Irish folk dancing to fluent Chinese back to back.
He's a linguist.
Yeah.
A lot like the brothers.
Linguist.
No, it was Sam.
Yeah. He was a quick learner.
He was.
5-minute lesson in the car ride, he's good to go.
Speaking
just
of
like
linguists, the vampires.
Nice segue there.
That's one of those sinners transitions right there.
I like that the vampires were lot lizards. Like as soon as someone came out, they're like, "Hey, what are you doing here? Like, you want to come sit with us?"
Cornbread over there. Looky there.
They were all super nice.
I liked the how Remick did his voice changes, his accents and stuff.
Yeah, he was solid.
Swap it around. That was really fun.
His Irish accent was my favorite. Like when they were doing the true Irish folk songs. I was like, damn. But Cornbread, that son of a bitch, man. This guy, who is our security guard of the Juke.
He was doorman.
Yeah, bouncer. Big guy. Are vampires who approached the door and were turned away pretty quickly. Obviously, something's going on. They were supposed to just be on their way back to where they came from. But they just sat on a log.
Yeah.
Out, at the start of the little cornfield or whatever. And you could clearly see them.
Well, I mean,
what are you doing?
He was chatting with Delta Slim.
Yeah.
Cornbread, I mean, they're supposed to be going back. They didn't that's not where they started, at the log. What are you doing?
They're going real slow in case they change their mind.
Also, his job was to guard that door.
Yeah.
The log was not within his purview.
But you already knew that, hey, something's off with these people.
Also,
I'm going to go take a piss by him and see what happens.
they knew the job he had before being a security guard. I don't know if he was qualified other than being a big old boy.
Big old boy.
That's all it takes most of the time.
Yeah.
His wife had his number.
I don't know. That dude was the reason this whole thing fell apart.
No, it
Cornbread.
was the
Cornbread.
Trojan whore.
Yeah.
Copyright.
But that only was because of cornbread.
No, she went out to tell him to fuck off.
Yeah.
And remember he did that weird, like she put her ass in his crotch and he put the gun in her.
Okay, yeah.
And then she went out.
She got jumped.
Well,
they sang her a song.
Well, we skipped the part because she said, you guys need real money. You guys need real profit here. So let me go out and see if they're good people. Because beforehand, Smoke and Stack are having a conversation upstairs talking about it.
They're getting plantain crush.
Yeah, and he says, he's like, what's the numbers look like? He says, shows it on the paper, this top number, that's plantation credits. The bottom number is the actual cash. And, well, if we don't change this up, if we don't make some real cash, we're going to be out of money in 2 months and this thing's going to be over.
So for our listeners that, I don't know where the education system is at this point, but plantation credits are when plantation would hire people and give them credits so that they would have to buy food, supplies, everything at the plantation, and they couldn't get away from it. So they were still essentially slaves. That's what plantation credits are. I don't know where the education system is at this point. See what the future holds.
Yeah, something that was
Depends on
replicated
which country
in,
you're listening from.
Yeah, but it was replicated in mining towns where they would have the company cash. You could spend at the company store.
Roblox are coming out soon.
Roblox.
I'm investing everything.
No, you're everything.
Well, it's just like they did it a lot, and they loaned it to you. They rented you your house on credit. They rented you your tools on credit if you needed clothes, food, all that.
There's a
other
whole
stuff.
political argument to get in here about legal slavery trickling into today with the company.
I think
going to skip that part.
No, I think we're onto something here though, because what we've identified is that the true villain of this film was economics.
Mm.
I thought you were going to say slavery.
Well, that's abolished.
Sort of.
Yes, yeah.
Allegedly.
What year is this?
Oh, today or
I know
1922?
this might have to cut out.
Yeah, we're going to be careful with this one.
This is going to be a 9-minute podcast.
Just making work for myself. Slaves!
Cornbread.
Now, let's talk about cornbread.
Yeah. Let's talk about cornbread. That fucking hog on him.
That scene, though.
10-minute piss.
So, Cameron said it was Cornbread's fault. But there was, like, to that point, he was the one that went from being, like, the tough security guard, the tough door guy, into being, like, this super polite, nice, jovial guy. And, like, what? I'm trying to be nice. This isn't my place. I'm asking to get let in. And I go, hey, big boy, you've been in and out of this place 70 times already today. Why are you asking now? He goes, I just want to be nice. And
it was great because every time they asked him a question, he'd redirect it immediately.
Oh, yeah.
He played that up. That was a great scene.
That was phenomenal. But Annie called it out. She's like, something ain't right here. He's asking me and just going through that whole thing. And that's when she goes to the paints.
Yeah.
So there's something there. It's not that, but it's close.
And that was a cool element, too, because you have these people in a weird situation trying to figure it out. So it looks like this. Let's go with Hanks for now.
Yeah.
Oh, no, also, these are vampires.
Wow. Zombies? No, not bad. Smell different.
Yeah.
But she also, like, one of my favorite lines in this was when she's seeing it because she's got the supernatural shit going on. And she's like, hey, we should get this body outside real quick because shit's fucked. I don't know what it is yet, but
yeah,
she's assuming it's some level of supernatural voodoo, whatever.
Yeah.
But Ryan's right. Mary was the Trojan horse.
Yeah.
Who already turned.
She came back in and turned Stack.
Right. Goes and bangs Stack and That's the body that was
Oh,
inside.
also in his mouth too.
Yes, you did.
Can we talk about that scene real quick?
Do you want some?
The fact that, like, normally you have a scene where two characters are hooking up, someone else walks in, oh, it's not what it looks like. And then they put a scene where she is draining his blood.
That's exactly what it looks like.
And then, oh, it's not what it looks like.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, you can't play that off.
He unloaded about a dozen bullets into her, and she just popped up and took off running.
That was fun. That was a fun scene.
And just think, if Sammy had done his job in the first place and gone and got stacked, that wouldn't have happened because he'd have gone. I mean, it probably still would have happened eventually.
I think Stack would have just kicked him out, and he would have still had to go get smoked.
Maybe.
Yeah, she still had perfume on.
But I'm thinking we could have delayed this a little bit, and not everybody would have died.
Oh, you wanted a longer visit?
Oh yeah. I was hoping for the Zack Snyder cut.
Release the Coogler cut.
But that's where like the alert's coming from now too, right? Like they saw this happen. We got to get the body outside. They don't.
Don't.
And
the whole scene with Cornbread happens, and then Stack gets up, starts banging on the door,
and
they're talking, going back.
Which I was waiting for a long time because prior to that, they turned pretty quickly into a vampire, and Stack's laying there bleeding out, and like, oh, like, why didn't it happen?
Yeah. What was that? Brett, the
Bird,
KKK Bird. Yeah, because that whole conversation between wasn't it Joan?
Yeah,
that whole conversation between Joan and the Choctaw warrior was what 30 seconds, a minute max.
Yeah,
and she's calling out the whole time. She's like, "Hey Bert, never does anything." And the time she walks from their very spacious 300 square foot cabin from the front to the back.
They live in the House of Leaves.
Yeah. He gets up within, 10 seconds of when she walks in the room. So we're talking 90 seconds, 2 minutes tops for that. And Stack was down for...
Seemed like an hour, in their time.
Yeah. Actual time of the film, I don't know about an hour, but like 10, 15 minutes.
Well, Bert was a clan member. He didn't have a lot of fight in him.
True.
Bit of a puss.
Also, she didn't quite finish draining.
I was going to say, Bert didn't have nearly that much blood drained out of him either. Mary went to town on Stack.
Yeah, but she drained him in multiple ways, you know what I'm saying?
Touche.
I don't understand.
Spell it out for us, Cameron.
Also, he'd already had a long night. He was taking a nap.
Show me with your hands. But this ends Act 2 because now it's like, oh yeah, we all know they're vampires.
Well,
we all know that there's shit going on.
There's something going on.
It's supernatural. Because
they figured it out at the start of Act 3.
Act 3 is when Smoke, he can't be in the house because he wasn't invited, and he runs out smoking.
Yeah. Well, because so they're talking through the door, and he's like, "No, checked his pulse, saw it's dead." But then why is that my brother talking? They're going through. He finally breaks the door down, collapses the door on Sammy when he jumps up, and he throws a jar of pickled garlic.
Yeah, it's the garlic that gets it
on him, and that's what causes him, to smoke, burn, whatever. Then he takes off out of the house, and that's when she goes, "It's not Haints. These got to be vampires."
Yeah.
And that's when it kind of shifts.
Psychos don't explode when fucking sunlight hits them. And then we have the Thing scene, the blood scene, where we're going to pass around garlic and watch everybody eat it.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the idea of this because I thought it had an end game.
Nope.
But no, it was just a bunch of drunk people.
But the
point was, if you eat the garlic,
right?
And
I get it, but the way they did it, it was, and the way that everybody reacted, like, if there are vampires, and I am drunk as fuck, and you have to eat this garlic to prove you're not a vampire. If I start eating it and I'm gonna throw up, I would be like, I'm fine, like I'm fine. they're gonna shoot the fuck out of you. These people did. She's like convulsing and stuff.
That was the same test that they did in faculty. You're going to start the caffeine sugar pin.
Yeah. So that scene was two things. One,
I was hoping one of them was going to be a vampire and like explode.
Yeah, it was a misdirect,
100%.
but it was also hilarious because, to your point, Rob, probably even when you're not drunk, do you really want to eat a piece of pickled garlic? It sounds awful.
Oh, it's delicious. You guys are missing out on life.
And just see like that whole part where Delta Slim eats it and he is struggling because he's been drinking the Irish.
But the other girl, Pearline,
yeah,
even she says, she goes, I don't much like the taste of garlic. And of course, Smoke is like, nobody cares. Eat it, or I'm just going to shoot you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which if he shoots her and she gets back up, mystery solved. She ultimately, like, I don't know. I'm watching that and I'm like, I don't really want to get shot in the face, so I'm gonna suck it up and eat a piece of garlic for the time being. But she was stubborn about it. She's like, no, this is ridiculous. Why would I ever do this? Like, well,
you just saw that fucking thing over there.
Yeah, that could be.
You been paying attention the last 20 minutes?
That could be a piece of shit. I'm chomping that shit.
You really just like dog shit.
Yeah, I will.
You got to consider though, you're in a situation where you think I could die any second now, and this guy wants me to eat a piece of pickled garlic. Are you kidding? That could be the last action of my life. Eating that out of the jar that all these people have had their hands in. This is, yeah.
This is a dream come true.
You saw their bathing system there. I mean, you could eat. Yeah, they had a lot of germ tolerance built up there.
Fair enough.
Just like playing in the dirt and drinking out of the water hose as a kid. At this point, I'm pretty sure I'm immune to Ebola.
Most things. I think I was getting low on my page of notes, and Lauren kept hitting me because shit kept happening. But I think this is where, what was the Asian lady's name?
The husband was Bo
Chow.
Bo something? Yeah.
And
she was...
When they first called her out there, he just goes, go get mom.
Yeah, so she had a normal... I don't want to say normal name, but I just did. But not Bo Chow, right? Grace.
But we have this, okay, they're vampires. We're going to take everything we have. They do the montage of arming up
the gear up
supplying their gear. And then in the middle of it, her husband comes up and is talking, dead husband, the vampire husband, talking to her about going to the car. And he's like, well, we're just going to go into town and kill our kid then.
Yeah.
And she walks back in and says, you know what? Come on in. So it opens the floodgates for everybody. And
so the scene before that is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Because Cornbread attacks the other guy.
Yes.
And it like he's literally
on top
of the guy, gnawing at this dude's throat. And Bo Chow walks up as if none of this is going on 3 feet away from him. And he's like, no, I just went to warm up the car. It's ready. Let's go. Hop in town. We're going to go ahead and go home. And Smoke is like, are you seeing this? And he goes, no, he's fine. It's like, Cornbread's just hungry.
You know, I think we need a sequel to this film just called Cornbread, featuring that character having somehow survived everything and just going around trying to get people to let him into their houses.
Hey, y'all want to let me? I would watch that. And then we'd have Buddy Guy just popping every now and then.
Put it on the list with Anna and the Apocalypse too.
No.
Great film. I think they were trying to do a sequel. It'll never happen, unfortunately.
This is where you come in at your in your producerial capacity. You're just gonna have to shell out a little money for it.
This is a one and done.
It's a good point. So half of my money is going toward Rob's currency, and half is going to producing a sequel to
It's
him.
one and
And
done.
I will make sure that Cameron is in on the Apocalypse 2.
No.
Cameron Boogaloo.
Absolutely. Yeah. He'll just and you'll have to play a happy character, someone who loves being there.
Good luck.
He'll just be crying through smiles.
I don't. Yeah, I don't have that depth.
Those dead eyes.
Oh, you will once you get to Hollywood, baby.
Get in here, Cameron.
He tried to leave, but we drug his ass back.
Nah, never fails.
That's what we call technical difficulties.
Where were we? The vampires coming in?
Yeah, when Grace invites him in.
So Grace had a plan. It immediately went awry, but she had a plan.
She had a Molotov cocktail.
Yes.
Single.
But
Singular.
That was another great misdirect moment because they have them all marching to the table to get their stuff. She's in the center. The camera's focused on her lighting that Molotov cocktail. Turns around, the door opens, Reming's front and center. She tosses it. He just bats it right away.
Swats it away.
An actual redirect.
And that's what sets the barn on fire. Or the club.
Like
Bar.
the vision that we saw in Sammy's.
Yeah, part of the vision.
Also,
That news burned down because in the vision they saw it burn down.
Mm-hmm.
Had it burned down.
Except it didn't.
It burned down during the music video.
So it'll burn down at some point.
Yeah. Because the song, even though
Gotta
the
let-
whole thing was still standing after they killed all the KKK. Yeah.
It's going to be fire involved.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot going on in this fight.
Yes.
This is kind of the final fight scene, which lasted for about 9 minutes
One of the final fight scenes.
ish. Yeah.
Because you have the vampires come in. You have the brother versus brother. You have the Stack versus Voodoo Mama because she gets bit. Not really versus, but they have to put her down.
Yeah.
You've got.
Oh, good morning.
What did they do with? Oh, you joining us? Okay. Oh. Yeah. Oh. You want to be on? Okay. There you go.
I have some questions in this scene.
Yeah, please jump in at this
Okay,
point.
but you said that Stack is on the Voodoo Mama, and
Don't sass me.
the Voodoo Mama made it clear to Smoke that there's a way to set the soul free. Like, hey, if I go down, there's a way to like release me.
Yeah, you've got to kill him before
Don't let
the
me fair.
vampire
Right. So
poison serum, whatever takes
but
place.
it's like right through the heart, right? With whatever the little wooden dagger. Sure.
A shot
The
through
steak?
heart.
Yeah. When that happens, right? So when Stack, I guess, bites or whatever, and she's about to turn, but she doesn't, and Smoke then relieves her. Mary
He stakes her through the heart, yeah.
Mary and Stack, for some reason, like yell out Annie,
Yeah.
and then run out of the barn.
Because for whatever reason
Why?
they have more. They're more themselves. Like
They have
they're
a closer
part of it
connection
all,
to her.
But yeah, they still feel that connection.
I wrote down lazy vampires because they ran away.
See, I was like, they just found out that, like, no, that wouldn't make any sense because at that point they already turned. So even a dagger to the heart wouldn't really release them.
I think it would.
Or did they
but
see them like, oh shit, we gotta go?
I think it's
that-
more.
I don't know, but like, or do we just need a credit scene because that was stupid as shit?
I
Well,
think
they didn't leave.
I didn't need
They
that.
still.
They left. They ran out of
They
the
ran out of
barn.
the building.
But
And we didn't see him
they
till the
regrouped.
credits.
No, we did.
Stack came
Because
back.
Stack
Yeah, Stack
and
came back.
Smoke were fighting one another upstairs after they ran
Okay,
after.
but we didn't see Mary. Mary.
So, yeah, I think up to that point they were wrapped up in all of it, and they're just thinking, "Oh, we're going to turn them. They're going to be part of this group. It's going to be great."
Yeah.
To the point that, like when they see her killed, it's like, wait a minute, this isn't what's supposed to happen. You know, what is going on? And I'm not 100% sure the answer to your question, because it's a little questionable why he pulls her out of there. I think it's more, I need to get you out of here because I don't want to lose you as well.
Mm-hmm.
And also maybe I don't want you doing something.
Yeah,
that's gonna mess things
we
up.
want to be immortal together.
Yeah.
This is going to suck without you here.
But that's why he comes back for Smoke for the exact same reason.
Right.
To join in their.
Yeah, but he gets her out of there
return.
first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I
Yeah,
think at
'cause
that
that's
point
when-
also Remick is already so focused on
Sammy.
Yeah.
that he's not exerting as much direct control.
Yeah. And that's when what's his name? Slim.
Delta Slim.
Delta
Slim,
Slim.
yeah.
Thanks.
I know.
But that's when Delta Slim sacrifices himself to allow Sammy and Smoke, and I think Perlene at the time as well, to escape.
Yes.
And when they get upstairs, that's when Remick and Stack come back. And what was Stack's real name was Elijah?
Yeah.
Yes, Elijah Moore.
Elijah Moore. And what was Smoke's real name? Did they ever say it?
Didn't say it.
No.
Or I didn't catch
Something
it.
more.
Yeah.
Or less.
Yeah, because there's same more.
Yeah.
We're doing Smoke and Stack. Why not do more or less?
But yeah, there's like they go into sort of the second to last fight scene.
Well,
The other one, the last one's not really a fight scene.
Yeah.
Right.
that's next.
So more is a Rambo move.
But the end of it, you have the two brothers fighting, and they don't really close that. They make a move on it, and then they cut over to Sammy.
They cut away where Smoke is in the position to stake Stack through the heart.
Yes, and then you have Sammy's essentially he's about to get killed, and he hits with his guitar, which
It has a big steel plate.
steel center guitar, and it goes in his head. And this is why I wrote Lazy Vampires, because he's got this thing in his head, and all of the vampires that he's created feel his pain. They're all freaking out. He peels it out, and he's getting himself back together, and then the sun comes up. It's like, get a fucking watch. That always bugs me in vampire movies. Like, oh shit. Already dead.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to pick Robin clean.
It does.
You can't do that in just one evening. Sometimes the sun will come up. There's a wise woman who once said the sun will come up tomorrow.
But yeah,
And
there's
it
still. But that's when it goes back to what you were saying earlier about him being Remick being persecuted, I guess, back in Ireland, being forced to join Christianity because Sammy reverts back to his preacher roots, preacher boy Sammy.
Which they did a little
he
vampire
doesn't,
baptism.
He does when he starts saying the Lord's Prayer.
Yeah.
And he baptizes him.
He dunks him a couple times, and that's when Remick makes the comment. He's like, "Oh, yes, that's exactly what they said to convert me the first time they showed up, and the first time I got away from them." And so he starts in saying the Lord's Prayer with him, and then the entire group, as they're gathering around to watch this, starts it, and then that's when Sammy smacks him with the guitar and turns him into one of the ghosts from 13 Ghosts.
That's the one else that could have.
Yep.
Mr. Hanson.
That's him. But yeah, like they go through that whole ordeal, and
Then
Smoke shows back up.
Well, yeah, the sun come out.
Yeah, it's like it's coming up as this happens, but we're all sitting here waiting because all he's got left is the neck and head of the guitar and the strings, and so we're all sitting here. I think Rob even said it out loud. He's like, he's gonna stab him with the guitar. He's gonna stake him with the guitar.
God damn it!
And I'm assuming that's what everybody else thought. That was my first thought. I was like, he's gonna get him with the guitar, and that's why he still has it when he gets back to the church. He's like, oh well.
Misdirection.
This is my safety net, and then taken from behind.
It's a B chord. I hated that. Just so you all know.
It's a joke for the music nerds, though.
Yeah. Charles will love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stake coming from the guy that
allegedly just staked his brother.
Yeah, he was in the Bowerman. That surprised me, and I did really want the guitar to go through. But you have that moment of all of the vampires that are connected to Remick screaming in pain and agony because they're not dying, but they're slowed down, and the fucking sun comes up because they're all standing out in the fucking outside. I hate it so much.
Got to see the sunrise one last time.
God damn it, I hate it. And I hate vampire movies. But
why didn't they just take a page out of Stephen Dorff's book and put a little sunscreen on?
Well, SPF 300.
Yeah. Has it been invented at that point?
No.
Yeah.
Probably not.
It's just mud.
Yeah.
I guess they could roll in some asbestos and.
I mean, they have about blood.
Yeah.
I guess they're eating it. Yeah.
Finish your thought.
Yeah. Where was it?
I don't.
I know you're just trying to get out of here.
No, I have something to say.
They're outside and the sun's coming up.
I don't want to interrupt without you finishing your thought.
But at the end of it is you have, which one is Smoke?
Smoke.
And he has been told, you bought this from that guy. Remember when he said the clan's gone and why were the floors clean? Oh, because this was a slaughterhouse and he sold it to you guys because he's the head of the clan and he wants to bring all of his clan friends down here to kill you guys as you're walking out in the morning.
Yeah, to slaughter the plantation workers.
Because Remick is no longer going to be able to, I think, as he put it, rectify that old bigot.
Yeah.
Which was such a great line.
It was good.
No, that was spectacular.
But that fun, a bit of chaos with his character.
Yeah.
But that's when you have the locker trunk with both sets of military, two guns, and all that.
Yeah, 2 big Brownings, a Tommy gun, a couple.
There were 2 brothers.
2 brothers.
Wait, is this called 2 brothers?
It's just 2 brothers.
Yeah, but like their stories divert, and Sammy takes one of their cars, goes back, makes the entire drive with the guitar neck in hand, which is not even from the person he originally thought it was from.
Right, I thought it was a famous person.
Yeah, I thought it was Charles Payton?
Parson?
Is that right?
Pretty sure.
Okay.
Will Patton.
No.
Yeah, but it comes out in one of those last scenes. They're like, no. Is that what Stack told you? No, we stole that from our daddy right before I killed him.
Yeah.
But everybody, even some of the people they talked to, they referred to we'll call him Papa Moore. Smoke and Stack's dad. Everybody referred to him as the devil or an evil man or
shit.
Yeah.
Was the power of the
Maybe.
Maybe I'm just forgetting. How did Stack escape the fight with his brother?
So that's what they tell you at the end.
We're going to explain that in a minute.
I guess I missed that part because if it was in
like
the
credits, whole post-credit scene.
If it was in the credits, I was already saying "F this." I'm done, and I just checked out. Sorry, keep going.
I mean, the end of the Act 3 is him killing all of the white supremacists that sold him.
Yeah.
And getting shot himself.
And Sammy back in the church where we started with his father saying,
"Father,
let go of the guitar.
Let go. Drop the guitar."
Find out that he never did.
Yeah.
And then,
because it goes back to Smoke. All the clan boys show up, and he's he's got the place locked up. They're banging on the door trying to get in. Well, let's try it again. And he starts taking them out from the woods.
Yeah. Which I love that he was in this position of opportunity. He's just like, nah, and walks out into the. It's just one of those things.
But
it was a fun scene. He got to kill a lot of white racists. So it was great.
But it kind of comes back in, and I don't know whether this was intentional or whatnot. But there's that, like, when he comes in killing. Aside from the fact that, hey, I promised you guys in Act 1, if you cross this property line again, I'm going to kill everybody. But there's also that little realization of, damn it, the vampire's right. He wasn't lying.
Yeah. And he clearly wanted to die at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is my last act. I'm going to wipe these guys out and hopefully go out doing it because everyone I love's dead.
Yeah. I thought that last scene, after he's killed everybody but the head of the KKK who sold him the property in the first place, he sees Annie and their dead child next to him, and she's like, nope, you got to put the cigarette out before you can hold the baby. I don't want smoke getting on the baby. And he's like, I guess it's the equivalent of going towards the light.
Yeah,
he's going
good.
to.
The way they did that was really good.
Yeah, he's going towards his family, and the other guy's like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing? Are you gonna let me live?" Picks up the Tommy gun, dumps about 20 or 30 bullets into this dude, drops it, and then takes the baby and assumedly crosses over.
Well, and it goes back to Annie when she was telling Smoke that you have to kill me, like don't let me turn.
Yeah.
Because I already got people.
She's free. Her soul's free.
I already got people waiting for me.
Yeah, so we got somebody waiting for me, and so do you.
And then, yeah, exactly. There's a realization that, I do too. I can just go now and be done.
Yeah, but that's not all, folks.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But wait, there's more.
Before we go to that, I'm going to extend this as long as I can.
Damn it.
Okay. Just a fun fact: when I first watched this, I was watching it with a good friend of mine and Ryan, who's an ER doc, and Smoke, where Smoke gets shot, we're sitting there watching it. And he's just like, "What? Why is he dying? There's nothing vital."
I was going to say it's a through and through. Like it might have hit like a kidney unless he had other wounds, likely multiple concussions from the 19 fights he was in 2 hours prior or an hour prior.
Which side was it?
Right side.
It was right side. But like you can see when he lifts up his shirt to look, you can see the exit wound on the back.
Yeah, and it probably
it's just coming through his side.
Something, but
but
it was just funny because
he wouldn't have lived that long if his appendix ruptured. But like if it nicked his spleen or something like that, he would have. Like you'll go septic really quick if you've got bile leaking into your bloodstream.
He was tired.
Yeah, I mean, septic, multiple concussions. I get it, but
it was just funny because, and to put it in perspective, this is a guy that works in the ER at Cook County in Chicago.
Yeah.
He's gunshot wounds.
I was going to say he was in the trauma ED for like 2 years.
Yeah. So for this guy to just be like, well, but why is he dying? And then he's talking through the scenarios of why he could actually die. Just added something to that moment.
So that's where the movie fell apart for him was right there. Like all of a sudden it's like, this movie.
It's like, damn it, 3 minutes left, and we lost him.
No.
Yeah,
mine was quite a bit earlier.
Was it? It was.
After the opening credits were
I
done.
didn't feel like we were losing you at all during the movie. But
he fell asleep on my shoulder twice.
Get through the credits. How did Stack escape? Tell me, because it was
let him go.
Because he said, "I'll let you go if you don't touch Sammy,
as long as you stay away from Sammy."
Okay.
And when we see Sammy again, how long?
It was 1992, so 70 years later. Which would put him at mid 80s, late 80s, probably.
Yeah. The seal joke was unnecessary.
Was it?
No comment.
Charles.
It was so funny though.
It worked.
It was spot on.
Yeah.
Also, as soon as I saw Buddy,
But-
I was like, God damn it. Okay.
Yeah. But like he's up there playing, finishes the set, and he's the last one at the bar, and the bouncer comes in. It's like, hey, there's a couple cats out here want to come in, so they give a couple $100. And then as soon as she walks through the door, he's just got this.
The door opens.
Shit.
And there's that moment of hesitation, and he goes,
Just
and then-
invited him in.
Yeah.
Because they've got to be invited in.
Which is sad enough time to get over letting people in someplace. If you're that guy and you live through what you lived through, anytime someone's like, "Hey, they want to come in," you're like, "No, fuck that. No.
Nope.
Down the street, there's a fucking Starbucks."
Seats taken. Sorry.
But that I did like that scene, the way they let it play out, and offering, "Hey,
We can ease your pain.
we could turn you, and you can be one of us, and you won't die. You'll live forever." I'm pretty much done with this shit.
Yeah. But her eyes changed, and she even flashed her teeth at the bartender because the bartender was just like,
Yeah.
and we're done here.
Yeah.
Backs away.
Yeah.
But did you notice her face as they were walking out? Like she was genuinely sad, knowing this was the last time she was going to see him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that he didn't accept the offer to join.
Which they kept up with that fairly well throughout the movie consistently.
Yeah.
When they turned someone, they adapted their love and the emotion of that person toward other people. That part I thought they covered fairly well as it went along.
Yeah, I think in this case because they were free, they weren't controlled by Remick. They were kind of just finding their own way, and they were a little more open to allowing others to do the same. Aside from probably the thousands that they've slaughtered over the past.
Yeah, you know they've killed millions of people. Yeah,
Everybody.
It's cool though. I'm sure they deserved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We only feed on murderers and rapists and homeless. Nobody misses them. Nobody's looking for them.
the royal we.
Damn vagrants. Not that I'm part of that group or anything.
I'm just thinking about how much of this I'm going to leave, man. Most of it.
You're not going to cut anything.
Only because Cameron's in chat with you right now, as you say.
So-
And he's not disagreeing at all. He's like, yeah, that sounds good.
Before we finish this, I think we haven't touched on probably kind of the key themes of this. So just to throw them out real quick so we cover as many bases as we can. Obviously, just freedom in general is a big one. It's everyone, not just in the larger sense, but even in the smaller sense of, you look at Sammy, who he has to choose to forge his own path because, his father wants him to do one thing. Even his cousins are trying to push him away from being like them. They talk about how their father was abusive to them, but then they kind of treat everyone exactly that same way with, a select few that they care about, but they're still pretty, not the most fair towards Sammy and his ability to choose. And there's a lot of that sort of thing. I think it's really cool how that's all woven into the narrative.
Yeah. But even though Sammy forged his own path, he wasn't totally free because he calls it out when he's talking to Stack and Mary at the bar. He's like, yeah, I've done my own thing, but once a week for the last 70 years, I've woke up paralyzed if today's going to be the day that they come back.
Yeah.
Well, that's just PTSD.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So but you're right. He's not free from.
But
fear
you're
of that.
stuck in your own mental prison at
But
that point.
he's found the freedom he can, kind of similar to Stack and Mary.
They're stuck here forever, unless they want to stake each other through the heart.
They could die, but they're not ready. They want to do more.
I guess they forget to wear a watch.
True.
Well,
Say
also, I mean,
he better watch the glare off the bling there.
Yeah. They did a whole lot with religion and the turn of the century kind of things that were happening back then, and rolling that over to modern time. I thought a lot of that was really well done. With this is the religion and like the idea of how we adapt in this time and how they roll that over for a modern for the movie than for a modern audience, and then also doing the time jump to the end. All of that fit together really well. This is one of those movies that when it ended, I was like, God, what the fuck? This was not what I expected. It was so much different than I thought it was going to be. But now I'm like, okay, I need to watch it again, knowing what it is. I'm probably going to like it a lot more. Not that I didn't like it anyway, but there's shit you didn't expect.
Yeah.
I didn't expect when I watched this.
Irish folk music.
Yeah. River dancing.
There's no way someone could watch this and say, I expected that. There's no.
Yeah.
There were a lot of those.
By the way, we kind of mentioned this before, but I've been paying close enough attention. But it was cool the moment where Annie said, "I don't want you to get told smoke. I don't want you to get smoke on him." That part of you is like, finish your business in this world.
Yeah. Come on, we're wrapping this shit up.
Yeah. And then he just does the full, untouchables moment on that guy, and just blasts him with the Tommy gun.
I'm going out like I live, baby.
As James would say, I'm not sure what that was supposed to be.
He is
given the best of whatever it was.
The best version of it, that's for sure.
They were only missing one character in this film. And Tim knows what it was.
Skeletron?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, everything needs more Skeletron.
Everything.
Unfortunately, this movie had a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
It had a lot.
Yeah.
We're not done, and we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably could have talked about
We
this.
can wrap this shit up.
Yeah.
Cameron's falling asleep.
Cameron's ready to
He
go
already
now.
turned his computer off and tried to leave. We brought it back.
I did.
I think I was about my last set.
My Uber's still not here. Called it
Big boy.
30 minutes ago.
He was going to finish this movie before he came.
Yeah.
You didn't expect that after credits scene.
Which, if you can think of anything else, any other movie that has the same vibe as this, Trailers for King. Music Works.
It's Arkansas Music Works, located on J Street in Bentonville, your local shop for all these music instruments and more. It's chock full of musical instruments for the discerning musician and has a selection of audio, orchestra, and band instruments for those dipping their toe into the musical world. Need your instrument updated or repaired? They do that too. For all these great services and more, check out your local music shop, Arkansas Music Works, and mention the Talking with Words podcast for 10% off your purchase.
Yep.
I think that's it. Anything else we need to... I'm not going to say what we missed because we missed a bunch. I know I missed a bunch.
Yeah.
And that's a whole page full of notes.
I think we did. We did it all.
Not possible.
Great movie. Now before these guys leave, we're going to turn on another great musical film that I know they all enjoy.
I think we are.
But
Yeah.
on a different note, who all is excited for the next Hell House film?
Hey.
I did see that. I watched the trailer today. I was telling them about it. Yeah. I'm very eager to see what they do with the different shooting style.
Yeah.
I was going to say, they're totally changing the style for this one, right?
How big found footage, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm eager to see what they do. We got a month and a half.
Almost there.
I
Counting the days.
don't even know what that is, so
Oh. You shoot.
I won't be watching it.
Oh.
That's what you say now.
Yeah.
You've got time. There are only 4 or 5 other four films.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1 through 3 plus Lineage.
Yes.
I think I can miss it.
So if we start as soon as we get back to Rob's house, we can get them all done before you have to drive to Gulf Shores
No
tomorrow.
problem. Think I can miss it.
No. You're missing out on
These
life.
do not have music.
I'm okay with
They
music,
do.
just not
They have
musical, just not shitty music in movies.
It's a smidge of piano music.
It's fine.
It's a lot of climbing around is what it is.
Kicking around.
If you will.
All this music, picked poor Cameron clean.
Oh, Cameron King.
Oh, hey, man.
Oh, Cameron King.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody's talking about Sinners. I get why they're talking about it.
It's definitely worth a watch.
It's worth a watch. 100%.
I think you
Anything else?
should watch the trailer right before you watch the movie,
Because it's exactly the same as
and
what
then
you think.
feel as betrayed as I do.
That's not just for this movie. That's what Cameron feels about every movie.
Yeah.
Because he thinks all movies are 6 minutes long. He's not the end figured out yet.
Taylor reincarnate over here.
That's my boy. Hey, what are we calling you, Dog Man?
Tim.
Tim. Call me Tim.
Tim. Thanks for hosting.
Tiny Tim.
Yeah, thanks for coming over.
Thanks for inviting the sinners.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give Charles and Lorna some shit later.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm just gonna leave her a voicemail of me screaming at her. Okay, Charlie. Cameron's ready to leave. He's already getting right.
That shit's packed.
Thanks, guys.
Are we recording?